After 8 years of sacrifice helping my wife become a lawyer, she handed me divorce papers the day she passed the bar exam and told me, I don't need you anymore. I have my license. She had no idea I was already 3 moves ahead. For 8 years, I worked double shifts while she went to law school. I paid tuition, rent, groceries, everything. She always said, once I pass the bar, everything will be different. We'll finally have our life together. But during her final year, something shifted. She stopped saying our future and started saying my career. When I'd mentioned taking a vacation once she graduated, she'd barely look up. That's not a priority for me right now. My career is what matters. Bills would sit unopened on the counter. Dishes piled up because she needed every hour for bar prep. Anytime I mentioned our future together, she'd dismiss it with, we'll talk about that once I'm established. I told myself it was just stress, just the pressure of the biggest test of her life. I convinced myself that once she had her license, she'd go back to being the person I married. The night her bar results came out, she screamed when she saw she'd passed. Not, we made it, just, I passed. Still, I lifted her off the ground, told her I was proud, because that's what you do when you believe you're a team. Her classmates organized a celebration dinner at a trendy downtown restaurant. I put on my best shirt, ready to celebrate alongside my new lawyer wife. The atmosphere was electric. Parents bragging, friends toasting, people clinking glasses. I sat there smiling, thinking this was finally our moment after 8 years of sacrifice. Then during dessert, she slid a manila envelope across the table. Divorce papers. I looked at her, waiting for the joke. Her face was calm, cold, rehearsed. I already signed my part, she said. All you need to do is finish it. I don't need you anymore, she continued. I have my license. I have job offers. I have a future. You were helpful during school, but that chapter is over. Helpful. 8 years of my life reduced to helpful. Around us, forks froze midair. Her classmates fell silent. Some looked uncomfortable, but none looked surprised. Here's what she didn't know. I'd been preparing for this moment for months. When she started dismissing our future, I quietly moved my belongings to a storage unit. My record collection, my tools, my grandmother's china. I opened a separate bank account and started funneling money there. The apartment, entirely in my name. The car she drove, my name, my account. Every utility, every bill, all mine. So when she handed me those divorce papers, thinking she was taking half of everything, she was actually claiming assets that were never hers. I pulled out my pen and signed right there at the table. Page after page. The scratch of ink the only sound in that silent restaurant. Her expression shifted with every stroke. She'd expected begging, fighting, a scene she could use against me. When I finished, I slid the papers back. Congratulations on passing the bar and on your divorce. That's it? You're not even going to— Why would I fight for someone who just called me dead weight? I stood up, smoothed my shirt, and walked out. Within a week, I'd moved to San Francisco. She thought she'd gotten the apartment. What she actually got was 4 walls with no power, no internet, and shut-off notices. Because everything was in my name and I'd already terminated the lease. She moved in with roommates, working 80-hour weeks for barely more money than I'd been making, staring down 6 figures of student debt she'd expected us to tackle together. Meanwhile, I bought a small house in San Francisco and met someone who actually chose me when she had options. For months, she tried everything to find me. Different phone numbers, showing up at my workplace, hiring a private investigator, stalking my family. I stayed silent. Finally, she tracked me down at Home Depot while I was loading lumber. She looked wrecked. Dark circles, thinner, desperate. Please, she said. I made a mistake. The hours, the debt. It's too much. I gave up the best thing in my life. When you thought you'd be rich and successful, you tossed me aside, I said. Now that you're broke and tired, suddenly I'm the best thing you ever had? What can I do to prove I've changed? Nothing. I'm not the guy you discarded. That guy is gone. So there's really no chance? I'm engaged, I said, to someone who chose me when she had options. Her face went pale. I climbed into my truck and drove off, leaving her standing in that parking lot with nothing.